SXSW, Denver. Shit, I'm excited. I want to climb this Silicon Mountain we hear about. I'm getting fucking excited about that. First of all, I have 980,000 followers on Twitter. I don't want to bullshit the stats, but I appreciate it. I'm gonna actually assume a lot of you don't know who I am. That's where I'm gonna go with this. How many people here, by show of hands, have no clue who I am? Please raise it high. That fucking hurt. Shit. I didn't mean 80%. All right, I'm gonna take like 90 seconds. Normally I have an hour keynote, so I'm gonna give you a very short version of who I am to create context to the things I'm gonna talk about, because very honestly, this is a very exciting event for me. I get to speak quite a bit, but knowing that I'm at an event that I know is going to be a major event going forward, there's something just special about being a keynote speaker at the first one that you know you come back in 10 years and it's 4,000 times bigger. So I was born in Belarus in the former Soviet Union. I came to this country when I was 3 years old. I lived in a very immigrant upbringing. I lived in a studio apartment in Queens with 8 family members, the exact size of this stage. So you can imagine it was pretty tough. My parents rarely bought me toys. I had to hustle for all of mine. When I asked my mom for Nintendo, she said, awesome, go buy it. So that's kind of like the place I come from. My first job as an entrepreneur was when I was 5. I moved to Edison, New Jersey when my dad finally got a job that paid enough for us to move out of Queens. And he was a manager of a liquor store in Clark, New Jersey. When I was 5, I went outside and basically started my first business. I had 8 lemonade stands. And I would make all my friends work the lemonade stands while I made the signs and tried to figure out where to put them, because I've always been following the attention of the end consumer. How many of you remember Big Wheels? Remember Big Wheels, the little kind of like bike thing? I used to ride my did you have one? Awesome. Fuck yeah. Nice. We gotta talk about Big Wheels after this talk. I used to ride my Big Wheels around Edison, New Jersey and pick up my cash like I was little Tony Soprano or something. So that was a good job, made a couple $100. When I was 12, my entrepreneurial career really took the next step. I started a very big baseball card business, and I was making $2,000 to $3,000 a weekend selling baseball cards when I was 13 in the malls of New Jersey. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when you have $30,000 in cash under your bed and you're 14 and you're not selling weed, you're doing a good job. So that was good. I was proud of that. That was a good start. But then my career really kind of got serious. I was 14, my dad forced me into the liquor business. I was the firstborn immigrant family, that's just kind of how you did it. And I got paid $2 an hour to bag ice for 15 hours a day for 2 straight years after school and every holiday and weekend. So that sucks shit, as you can imagine. But it got me into the liquor business. When I was 16, I recognized something that I didn't know, which was that people collected wine. And that was kind of my hook, right? I had this huge passion for collecting sports cards, and I had a huge passion for helping my family business, but I didn't know how to make them hook because I wasn't into beer or liquor. There was just no passion there. But once I realized people collected wine, I said, crap, you know, Silver Oak, Caymus, Opus One, same crap as Frank Thomas, John Elway, and Wayne Gretzky. So I took all my passion into that, and so I started reading the Wine Spectator and Robert Parker's Wine Advocate instead of Beckett Baseball Card Guide and those things, for some of you that might remember. I did not have a computer until I was 19 years old. I did not grow up techie at all. Unlike many of you in this room, when I hang out with all the cool Silicon Valley kids like I'm going to right after here, when they start getting into that conversation of, remember your first Apple II? I'm like, oh, fucking nerds, no, let's not talk about this. You know, I didn't grow up with a modem. I didn't grow up with that stuff, but I'm standing in front of you as somebody who's had a lot of success in tech for one reason, and it's the reason that I want to talk to you guys about. All that really matters at the end of the day, without getting real sappy up here, is human beings, right? You're gonna be successful in your business. I'm blown away thinking about how many business leaders are in here, or startups, company leaders. I'm blown away continuously. I'm being reminded right now, because I've started running another business, and I'll tell you that in a minute, of how many people underestimate that the strength of your victories are based on the people that work for you. I am blown away by the management style of individuals. Let me give you one piece of advice that I promise you, and you might not have the DNA for this, but you need to try. Managing with honey over vinegar is something every single person here needs to learn. I'm baffled by people not understanding that the people in your organization are the backbone, and when you treat them like shit, you lose. I've fired in the last year the 3 most talented people that work for my social media agency because they don't know how to play nice with the other boys and girls. Please, please start giving a lot more thought to the people that are actually building your business, which are your employees and partners, but even more importantly, your customers. I am also equally blown away by how we think about tech for customer acquisition and how we're gonna make this scale, SEO, SEM, what's our Twitter, all this. Forget the people that we actually sell these products to. A lot of people in this room are tremendous hunters. You're good at getting business, but we suck shit. Whether we're in Silicon Valley, Alley, or Mountain, we suck shit at farming and retaining. We take for granted who we already have, so please audit when you go home your current clients and users and make them feel a little bit better than just a number. I didn't grow up in tech at all. The first time I even saw a computer in action, I was already a freshman in college. I was playing Madden 94, dominating by the way, and my friend came in and said, come here, you have to come and see this. I will never forget this moment. He was sitting at his computer, and it was the first time that I ever heard coo-coo-ch. Remember that shit? AOL, $3 a minute for some of you youngsters. Paying $3 a minute to get on the internet. Those guys were fucking thieves. Anyway, he signs on. He looks up at me. I will never forget this face. I will never forget my friend Joe's face sitting right below me. He looks at me and he goes, we can get chicks on this thing. So he went in and did age, sex, location. Some of you remember. And it took me about 30 seconds and said, holy crap, I can sell stuff on this. And it was the first time that I ever thought, I don't need to open up 800 liquor stores. I don't need to come to Colorado and compete against Apple Jacks, right? And Chicago at Sam's and all that. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna build the biggest liquor, wine, retail company in the world. And it was the first time I said, can I do it through this? And so the reason I've been relevant and the reason I have 980,000 followers on Twitter is because intuitively, I pay attention and think about the things that you're gonna do that you think you're not gonna do. How many people here, honestly, now remember, lying is the devil. How many people here, honestly, and no half-ass hand, I had a 4 a.m. wake-up call, so don't fuck with me, go like this. How many people here, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3, said the following to themselves or in their head? Did you say the following out loud or to yourselves? Please raise your hand if you did. This statement: I'm not getting on Facebook. Why would I ever need a Facebook account? That's for the kids. Raise your hand, don't lie, I'm waiting. Excellent, got about 30, 40%. Just curious, of the ones who did, how many of you are now on Facebook? Raise your hand. Just curious actually, which is almost everybody. Just curious, who here is not on Facebook? Actually, if you're not on Facebook, just because I want to show the room, if you do not have a Facebook account, please stand up real quick. It's good for blood circulation. Just stand up for a second. Thank you for turning on the lights. Guys, let's clap it up for these people. They're fighting the machine. Good shit. Great job. Good stuff. Respect. By the way, your horse is waiting for you outside after this keynote. Just saying. I launched WineLibrary.com in 1996 when I didn't even know what it was. I spent $15,000 to build a website for the company. We sold $286 worth of wine the first year, period. Not profit, sales. I don't know how many of you have a Soviet father, but that was kind of tough. The second year we did about 20, 30,000. The third year we did 2.1 million. I launched an email service in 1999. Because my competitors were faxing and cataloging, and I did email, no cost, did it often, and that really grew my business. In a 5-year period, I took my family business from a $3 to a $60 million business. I did it because I thought about where people were gonna be in 24 months, not 24 months ago. I did it because I was running a business forever, not to flip it or get it funded or get an article in TechCrunch. I did it because I thought I was gonna be around in 24, 36, 60, 120 months. And so I would hustle and not pay myself to build to where the consumer's gonna go. It's the same reason I did Google AdWords. When I did Google AdWords in 2001, it cost 5 cents. Before they did a 10-cent minimum, it cost me 5 cents to get the word wine because I moved faster than all my competitors. And it was the biggest fight I ever had with my dad because my dad didn't want to do it because he was scared our competitors were going to go and click our ad and raise our bills. This is what the conversation was. I let blogging go by in 2003 and 4 because I can't write for shit, even though I have 2 New York Times bestselling books. So I kind of really believe that all of you should think about doing what you're best at, because I think a lot of us try to do things because we think they're the right thing to do and not focusing on what we can actually execute. So I kind of let that go, but then YouTube came along. And I sat next to my developer, Eric Kastner. He said, check this out. You've been talking about doing wine videos, but the hosting was too expensive the first time I ever asked a year earlier. And he said, this hosts for free. I started Wine Library TV, and that's kind of what brought me into your guys' world. It got a lot of recognition, and I used Facebook and Twitter to build my audience. And this time I was smart. I was right about e-commerce. The first conference I ever spoke at was one that looked like this, and the person before me said, and the kid coming up next is gonna tell you that you're gonna buy wine on the internet. How many people in this room will never put their credit card into a computer? This is 1995, by the way. And every person raised their hand. So I walked out and said, this sucks. And I said, I wish this was being recorded, because Mr. PowerPoint that was just up here is gonna be on the wrong side of history. He understands what's happening now, but every one of you fuckers will put a credit card into a computer. And I know that because we fight technology. Let's admit this. This one's gonna hurt because you're probably sitting with your friends that think you're a tech superstar, but don't lie, because lying is the devil. How many people here, the first time they saw Twitter, thought it was the dumbest shit they ever saw? Raise your hand, don't lie. Oh, weird, all of you. And the reason you did was because we default as business people and marketers into saying, what are we gonna say? The first time you saw Twitter, you're like, who cares that I'm eating a pizza? What am I gonna say, walking the dog? We didn't think about listening, right? The whole game is always countercultural. The most important website for every one of us in this room from a marketing standpoint in 2013 is twitter.com/search. Because we talk everywhere else. We have Facebook fan pages and pin boards and Tumblr and blogs, but twitter.com/search is the one place that every person in this room can go and search their business, their name, or the things that they're involved with. For me, it was wine. Right? And search people talking about it. You can jump into the conversation and create the #1 word that matters to every person in this room. Everybody in here is in the content business, one way or the other. If you're an API, a platform, no matter what you are, you're in the content business. How many people here have heard content is king? How many people have heard that statement? Almost everybody. But the word that I want you to all focus on, that's the differentiator, that's the countercultural move going forward, is context. The fact that we can build context to set up our content is the reason so many people are struggling with social media. The reason people are struggling with the ROI of social is because we're all acting like 19-year-old dudes on it. We're trying to close on the first move. It's all about us, right? We're all pushing our stuff. Have you looked at your Facebook fan page lately? It's come to this, look at my this, look at this. It's nothing about the community. We talk a good game collectively, but we suck at actually executing it. So we need to start doing a lot more listening, not only for our customers, definitely for our employees. I see a lot of startups, met a lot of people before. We need to do a lot more listening there. And we also need to recognize how ridiculously lucky we are. This is the singular culture shift of our time. This is the biggest culture shift of our time. The internet, the consumer web that we all know, is not 20 years old. Most people really got on the web when Windows 95 forced the market. You're talking about 18 years. The internet hasn't even had fucking sex yet, and it's dominating. This is a very major factor. There are people in this room that are using it, but not recognizing the power of the maturity of the internet. Here's where we're at. Where the internet is at now is we're connecting people. And this is gonna become more of a people game than a tech game, because word of mouth has always been how business has been done. And now with the platforms that we all have, we have word of mouth on steroids. We have an ability to create context with end users at scale, but nobody wants to do it because everybody wants to do something scalable. It feels better to do an algorithm. It feels better to do an ad buy. Let me talk to you guys about this. Let me paint a real picture of it. Because the one thing I know standing up here more than the sun comes up tomorrow, as a proud one myself, is that marketers and business people ruin everything. It's what we do. And we're about to ruin social over the next 5 to 7 years, which is why it's so important you get the value of it over the next 3 to 4. Do you guys remember Groupon and Living Social and that whole stuff? How many people in this room have ever signed up for Guild Group, Groupon, Living Social? How many people here have used a deal of the day email service? Please raise your hand. I'm just trying to get context. Okay? Most people. Do you remember 3 years ago how much you loved it? Do you remember how you couldn't wait to get a $50 fucking spa treatment for $25? Do you remember how it was the best day of your life when you got $80 worth of sushi for $40? We love them. Just curious, how do you guys like those services now? You hate them. You hate them because they pounded you into an oblivion, they spammed you until you couldn't care, and now you don't care if they're giving you $1 million home for $100. You're like, spam, delete, fuck this. Same thing with email. 15 years ago, 18 years ago, you know how much we loved email? I know this is a mix of a young and an older crowd. For some of the people that are a little older, when email came out, I was like, holy shit, I have to send as many emails as possible because they're gonna charge for this. I'm never gonna write another letter in my life. How's the post office gonna stay in business? Subsidies, who knew? But, you know, I've never written a letter. But now, we loved email. We made movies about it. You've got mail, we loved it. How do you guys like email now? You hate it. We got pounded. Do you know how open rates have collapsed for marketing? Do you know banner ads 12 years ago, the kind of rates they were getting clicked through, now they're 0.1. We are ruining everything step by step because it's how we do business. And right now, we have this moment in time where the consumers are willing for you to engage with them and create context to buy permission for you to then market. And the thing that we don't understand as businesses is the whole setup. I'm writing a new book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it's the thesis of this. People aren't putting in the effort. People always look at me and said, how did you get so many fans? Easy, I spent 15 hours a day on Samize.com, which was twitter.com/search before they bought it. And I searched Pinot Grigio and Bordeaux and Merlot, and I engaged with people at scale. Do you know how sickening it is to answer what wine goes with fish 48,000 times? But I did it. And by the way, it's not Pinot Grigio, stop drinking that shit. Business is about supply and demand. Business is about supply and demand. It always is. The supply and demand issue in our world today is one simple thing. The thing that's the most limited in supply is effort and caring and giving a crap. You know why? We're busy. It's a 24/7 world, right? You know why the phone sucks, as great as it is you're always on. You're on it 24/7, 3. How many people in this room, you wanna get really scared? Watch these hands, front row, watch. How many people in this room, within every 24-hour window, every 24 hours, including while you're sleeping, are always within arm's reach of their telephone? Raise them. Everybody. That phone is the robot that we were all promised, but it doesn't clean your fucking room. Remember that in the 80s? I was so pumped. Anyway, we're on 24/7. We're better. It's nice to see the world become better in both sexes. Men, I think, are doing a better job with work-life balance. Women are getting better and better opportunities. It's awesome, but we're busy because of it, and we're always on. And so giving somebody your effort is harder than ever. And then you have really smart people that are building amazing tech companies, but they're smart about it, and they're looking for efficiencies and scale. This creates a severe, massive supply and demand issue with giving a crap. And I promise you that if you audit your business, if you go home from this and you think about all the stuff that's going awesome in Silicon Mountain, and you go home and look yourself in the mirror and realize that you're doing dumb shit, that if you took 25% of the dumb shit that you're doing, wasting time on doing something, and you take that 25% and you allocate that to human beings within your world, your employees and your end customer, your business will look totally different. We ran an A/B test for WineLibrary.com where we call people after they place an order. Bless you, dude. Where we call people after they place an order and we say thank you, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you for placing an order at WineLibrary.com. I hope you have a great day. Jersey, what's that? My horse? I'm gonna talk to you after, sir. I didn't catch it. My horse has a kidney problem? Okay, I'm gonna move on, but I'm excited to talk to that gentleman. So we call people and say, thank you. And we've A/B tested all the people that we've called. And Jersey's a very funny state. It's one of the few states in the country that you can record a phone conversation, I wonder why. And so I listen to these calls when we call customers, and you can literally hear them waiting for the other shoe to drop, for you to say, oh, and we'll give you free shipping on your next order, and if you buy one more bottle. And that's all we do. Thank you. We appreciate. We're trying to scale effort. We've A/B tested first-time customers that we call versus ones we don't, and the ones we've called with nothing else are 80% higher volume in their purchasing. And their lifetime value is 400% longer, just by giving some form of effort. The other thing we've started doing is we're mapping on a CRM level the individual customers on the social web. And we're watching what they do. And we've started buying things for them as thank yous based on their interest graph, not based on what they buy from us. So yes, we know you buy Bordeaux and Pinot Noir, but now we're understanding that you're a Broncos fan, and we may send you a jersey signed by your favorite player, which starts creating much bigger context for the relationship. Guys, listen, you've got a ridiculous panel coming up here, and I could have went in a very different direction, but I thought long and hard about who's really here. The energy, and the mayor set the tone, the energy here is pretty substantial. And there's a lot of places that are doing a lot of great things, but I promise you, whether it's SF, New York, or anywhere else, the number one thing that is happening in our tech industry is that we have a lot of smart people, math-based, science-based, really smart. We're doing tons of great things. Everything's really awesome, but I'm telling you, we're discounting the humans in our circle. We're discounting them. Thank you. We're discounting them. We are. I'm stunned on how people look at their employees as numbers and their customers as numbers. We're not putting enough effort, and I'm telling you, if you want to win in business, see, I'm not a startup person that like wrote a blog for a little while and then went for funding and have a business now. I've built businesses, family businesses, where every one of your customers was, you died for them, because if you lost them, you were gonna be hurt. We are taking for granted the scale of the internet, that's what it's doing for us, and we're not understanding that these companies can grow very quickly and die very quickly because we're not building emotional relationships with our customer base and our employees, because we're just taking the scale for granted. We need to start as a whole, and if Denver wants to innovate, let's make this place the place that starts innovating on not just customer service, but employee service. Really start caring about the human beings that touch your suppliers, everybody, because that eco chain, I promise you, if you have any interest in building a business that lasts for 20 or 30 years instead of 20 or 30 months, that is the X factor. Those are the individuals that are gonna drive you to that success. We have to stop taking them for granted, and most importantly, we have to audit, because I'm practical. I know this is very Mother Teresa and let's hug and make out and all that, but I'm telling you right now, it has to be very practical. You're busy as shit. I get it. You taking time to like, I sit with my employees coast to coast. I have 200 right now, 10 minutes a piece. You know, how are you doing? That takes time away from me selling and making more. I get it, but it's the glue. It's the foundation. Caring about the end user has never been the wrong thing. As we all go more Jetsons, the people in this room that act like the Flintstones are gonna win. Thank you. Where's that dude with the horse and the fucking liver? I'm coming for you.